What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 228 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
It's a full ride fiesta.
Oh my God,
We're all wearing glasses.
We have
looking good.
Too many glasses. You have new glasses there.
I do have new glasses.
That's fantastic.
I don't think
That's
I've ever
fun.
seen you in your glasses.
I don't wear glasses. These are the same glasses I've had for over 10 years. You can tell by the stylish Oakley symbol on the side. You know what I mean? At one point, these were cool. And here we are now.
You know, so because like when
a space dad,
you'll move every so often, and like you can look inside the lenses and see there's like weird deformations in them.
Yeah, it's the like oils.
Coating's bad?
My
Coating's
essential
bad?
oils have destroyed.
Oh, yeah, the
over
coating's
time.
coming off.
That's what happens when you don't clean them often.
Yeah.
Why don't you just get new
clean them all the time.
glasses, Tim?
No, you don't.
Oh
I need
no!
to.
About 4 months ago, he looked at a Warby Parker box, and then nothing ever came of it.
That sounds right.
I did. I didn't like them, so I sent them back. They sent me another round. Didn't like those. Sent them back. We're working on round 3.
Andy's at the optometrist right now. You
No,
can
he's
go there.
not.
Damn, I know he's at the
He's at
dentist.
the
I was hoping I
dentist.
could get you,
Dude,
but he's going to my dentist, and my dentist is right by my optometrist, so it's kind of the same thing.
Wow, it is kind of the same thing. I like how he asked you, like, Greg, do you think they know you by name? And you're like, no, they don't.
No. At the dentist,
cool,
like
yeah.
I go in there usually once every 6 months, let alone the fact now I haven't been in there in like 18 months.
My
Because guess
dentist-
what? Huh?
Oh, sorry.
You asked me why I haven't been back? Great question, Kevin. I'll tell you why. Dentists, I understand back in the day, right? I'm Orville Redenbacher. I'm Abraham Lincoln. I need fucking dental stuff. I get it. There's fluoride in the water now. The way brushing technology with the quip.com/kindafunny things have come all this way, you know, it's fine. Dentists are now there for emergencies only, all right?
And the busiest lady in the business, Andrea Renee herself.
What's good,
joining
Tim?
us on the Kind of Funny Gamescast. God, it feels good.
Yeah.
God, it feels good. Friend's out doing something.
He's a Guardian Con. Yeah. He's in a upgraded suite. He had to put up a photo of it. Shut up.
You know? Up,
Well, at least he's not here to interrupt us all show.
Bam.
Damn. Damn. That's some
We need to put
real
him and
shit.
Nick on a one-on-one podcast so none of them can finish a thought. You, me,
Damn. Oh, I love it. I
I
love it.
laughed a little too hard at that joke, but we love Nick and Fran most days.
Yeah. But, you know, facts are facts there. Patreon supporters at the silver membership or above get to watch this show live as we record it. You get the show 3 days early and the full exclusive pre and post show. So you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames to do that, just like our Patreon producers this month did. Tom Bach and James Hastings.
Tom
Thank
Bach
you,
back.
guys. Tom Bach is back.
Tom back.
Tom Bach is Bach. Is he
Yeah.
going RTX? Do we have confirmation or
So
deconfirmation?
he bought a ticket, but he's not going.
That sounds like
That
a
is- that sounds like a Tom Bach movie.
Classic Tommy B.
Support the crew, but if he can't make it, he can't make it. He's a busy man.
He's a busy man.
think he
Or
just forgot.
you can just watch on Mondays at
think he just
youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or on roosterteeth.com or on podcast services around the globe. Just search for Kinda Funny Games Cast. This episode is brought to you by Bespoke Post and Hymns, but we'll get to that later. Let's just start it off. What you got there, Greg?
This package was delivered to the office under my name. Return
Kitchen
address,
safe.
mystery lady, it says.
Oh, you know what they use these for, Greg? Before you read that, they use these so in your kitchen, if you are on a diet and you're like, oh, there's sweets there that I can't have until X amount of time of day, you can put like the candies or the sugary foods or whatever inside, like the cookies, and then it's set to unlock at a specific time.
Interesting. Yeah, because it's got a countdown clock on it.
This is some Saw level
the
shit.
paper that came with it says, monsters will ravage,
You want me to break
demons
it?
will prowl, bullets will ricochet, blue armor will gleam, streets will rumble, warriors will embrace darkness, one will rise. 07/04/2019, 9:15 a.m. Pacific time. Rise to the top on Twitch. And it says automatically opens on July 4th at 9:15 a.m. Pacific time.
I got that fucker
From
open.
just
Oh wait, look at I
mystery
can just
lady?
turn the timer down.
Turn it to now. Well, no, you're turning it up. You added a day. There you
Wait,
go.
Oh,
There.
wait, hold on.
Can we just
Let's see.
cheat it?
Well, I saw Tom Marks. I put up a tweet about it, and Tom Marks sent back the smashed
2
one, but he
days.
smashed the shit out of his. So, Kevin, you might need to smash this at some
Was there
point.
something good in there?
Oh no, yeah, okay, so we turned it down to 0 days now, 18 hours. Oh, it won't go any lower. So you can turn the timer up, but you can't turn it down. But there's, I
Wow.
mean, yeah, like I saw somebody just
Give me a
smash it.
flathead screwdriver. I'll get in there.
What could it be?
Here's the thing, I saw you post this, and I told Joey, I go, all you guys have to do is hold it over the side, send people down to the spot.
That's what I thought about too.
And then just
toss
drop
off the
it.
side.
Drop
What
it
if
off the
there's,
side
like,
of the
a
building.
hamster in it.
What if there's a what in it?
Hamster.
Damn. That would be very solid.
God, I hope there's not a live creature in
Hey,
there.
you never know.
Oh, Oh, I'm feeling good about this, Greg. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
We got
go do whatever you want. Go
we
do
got
whatever you
plastic
want.
breaking.
Get in there, Kevin.
This is good.
Keep it away from my fluids.
Oh, yeah, it's
Don't cut your
broken.
hand, it's
I
already
can see
smashed.
the inside. Here we go.
I can see the inside.
Here we go. Wait,
there's
let's
not a speed
let's
rush
read
here.
this.
It's okay.
Let's read this again.
Sure.
Okay, and we're gonna unbox this now. It says, "Monsters will ravage, demons will prowl.
It sounds like it's gonna be some throwback.
Oh, bullets will ricochet."
Oh.
Oh, pins.
There's pins.
This seems like some shit we need Jared Petty for.
Well, I guess
Oh.
shoot, like. Now they didn't say we're.
One will rise. I should have known the rise up was.
Well, real quick before we say anything, like, is that an official embargo? You can't imagine it is,
mean,
right? They
It
sent me a
can't be
plastic
it can't
thing.
be
This is
an
another one of
official-
those situations we didn't sign any NDA.
I didn't sign
No.
that.
I don't know who the fuck these people are.
Capcom.
So I guess before we tell you what's in here, this is a spoiler warning that for literally only for the people who are watching it, for patrons who are watching live, because this episode won't go live until Friday. It's a T-shirt with some Street Fighter characters on it.
Wait a minute. What the fuck? Is this just a Capcom versus Capcom game?
Capcom cross Gung Ho.
It
What the
says
hell's Gung Ho?
Teppen.
I don't know what any of this is.
Gung Ho, no, remember
Gung Ho
this
is a
the
publisher.
Thing. Yeah, remember the Gung Ho logo? We all were like, oh, that looks like a vibrator. Like that's I
Yeah,
remember
but
the
what
vibrator.
is it then? Is
I don't
this?
know, Capcom cross a vibrator.
All right, let
But
me
I mean,
do
like,
some
this-
digging here.
This looks like it could be a Capcom cross Capcom game, which would be amazing.
Also, why would they do this with these safes, knowing that everyone was just going to break them?
I don't know, man.
I mean, we didn't have to. We could have waited.
Let's just see.
I don't know, man. I don't. You know who? I don't. Here's what I'll tell you right now. If it turned out this was embargoed, oops. I mean, because this is a bad embargo. This doesn't count as an embargo
It's
when you
not
send
an
me a plastic
embargo.
thing. You know I'm gonna smash.
Gung
Smashy,
Ho.
smashy. It's Gung Ho Media, right? What do they have?
They've made Puzzles and Dragons.
That explains the dragons, maybe. No, that's actually like Nergante from Monster Hunter.
I don't know, man.
Rise to the top on the floor. Go to teppenthegame.com. TEPPEN,
It's probably
thegame.com.
not up though, right?
Well, we're about to find out.
No, 403.
4 threes.
Well,
Request blocked.
Everybody rise to the top on July 4th.
Everyone rise to the top.
What a
I mean,
brilliant idea, too. Let's throw an event on a national holiday. Come on, guys.
Let's see what Teppen means, just the word Teppen. The first thing on Google, Teppen ramen.
Oh, that sounds good. I'd eat that.
I'm in. I love me ramen.
it's a horrible name if this is something actually cool. It's a fine name if it ends up being some puzzle fighter like knockoff thing. You know?
Yeah.
Because we got some Monster Hunter, we got some Street Fighter, we got Mega Man X, we got Darksiders, we got Devil May Cry, we got Resident Evil.
Wait, Darksiders.
Darkstalkers.
Oh,
is what I meant.
Darkstalkers,
And
sorry.
I fucked up myself.
That's all right.
You wronged me.
Teppen at gunghoonline.com. Play Teppen is the Twitter and the Twitch.
Playtip. Let's go to Twitter.
So the game is Teppen from Capcom Cross
Play
Gung Ho. And they're presenting Teppen. We're going to rise to the top
they
on
haven't
July 4th.
no tweets yet. Huh. What do you think it is?
Stupid.
I mean, I know.
Let's be honest, it's probably not going to be as good as this promotion is making it out to be.
Totally. Yeah, Gung Ho, I just don't know. Well, I mean, it's a Gung Ho game, all right?
Hold on,
Using Capcom
let me
stuff.
see this thing
We
again.
broke the shit out of that box, though, am I right?
You destroyed the box. Great job,
It was
guys.
a team effort.
Monsters will ravage, so that's Monster Hunter. Demons will prowl, so that's
DMC.
Devil May
Darkstalkers?
Cry, probably.
Maybe, yeah.
Bullets will ricochet. It could be Resident Evil with Wesker. Warriors will. I don't get it. Streets will rumble. Street Fighter. Blue
Street Fighter?
armor will gleam.
That's Mega Man.
Yes. One will rise. Huh. I don't know. I'd be interested if it was a Capcom fighting game because that'd be really cool. Because they messed up with all the Marvel stuff, and I feel like a lot of that had to do with the licensing of the movies and Marvel games not being up to snuff yet.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Teppen.
it is, but again, horrible goddamn name. Let's talk about Mario Maker 2, baby.
Ooh!
Super Mario Maker 2. Barrett, thank you for joining us for this right now, just because you've been building a little bit. You've been making in Mario
Yeah.
Maker. You
Yeah.
want to talk
You've
just a
been
little bit
making.
about that?
Yeah, the last couple when I picked it up, I was playing like the 100, like the story mode stuff, and then I tried the never stopping like course where you get like random courses from people, and then I got in the itch the other day to start making a level. Really because I've been enjoying hearing Andy suffer.
Sure.
in the other room. So I'm trying to design a level to really fuck with him. And it's been a weird like learning how to like the mindset of like how to design a level of like, do you just do like the world itself first and then think about enemy placement and all that stuff? So I've been really getting into it and I like it a lot.
How are you liking the controls and stuff for the making itself?
It's interesting this time around because I did some building when it was out for Wii U, and since there's no like pen this time around,
there's no stylus, right?
Yeah, so it's just like with your finger, and it is weird for like I would say like a couple hours, but you eventually get used to it. But yeah, I did have that in my mind where I was like, I want the fucking stylus. So besides that, it's been really fun. There's some like little things that have changed that I've noticed because I remember last time you could like shake characters to like change them up in like some ways, and there are some non super intuitive like things that you have to like look into to like, oh, this is how I want this enemy to drop and stuff like that. So there's like little things like that I wish could be a little more straightforward, but besides that, I'm enjoying it.
What style are you making your levels?
Super Mario World, no fucking doubt.
Hell
dude.
yeah.
That's the only way to go.
The best style, and I'm doing like a Bowser's castle type of style levels.
Oh,
So
okay.
there you go.
Have you guys been playing at all?
Nope.
Moonlighter, baby. Sorry. I see on the dashboard there, Mario Maker, I can't touch you.
Yeah, just like MC Hammer.
Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
gonna dive into it eventually,
Yeah.
but
Andy's been playing a lot, and I've been like popping in on his streams. That stuff looks
Dude,
hilarious.
his clips are hilarious. Yeah,
I love-
him do it.
I
but it
love how
also
much
for
he's
me
fan.
just drives home like since I was a smart person, I didn't play this Wii U stuff. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm not gonna plug that crap in. I'm not gonna deal with it. So I didn't play much of Mario Maker #1.
our audio listeners can't hear or see
Oh, they felt you
They-
roll your
Tim
eyes.
Tim and
they can
I
hear the eye
rolling
rolls.
our
They can hear
eyes.
it.
So my main Mario Maker exposure obviously was watching Patrick Klepek be bested over and over again by Dan Reichert's levels. And so now that this one's here and so many people are playing it, because again, Nintendo returned to form, actually made a good system. People are excited to use it and play it. I'm seeing these clips and it's just, man, like I'm excited to play the Nintendo levels. I'm not excited to ever download anybody's levels and get the shit kicked out of me for people just making them as intense and as painful as possible.
Oh, I love it. See, I feel like you just got to find the right ones because I feel like a lot of the guys that you're talking about, they're designing it where it's not just like getting the shit kicked out. It's not some like Kaizu shit where it's like just everywhere you go is death. It's
Yeah.
like there is a rhythm to it of learning the level and learning what to do, what to avoid. Then there's the good ones have the rules built into it where you understand like the advanced techniques. And that's what I love about the story mode so much is that it teaches you it makes you start thinking about Mario in a different way. And you're seeing a lot of these advanced creators kind of taking those elements and ideas and being like, how far can we push just a 2D platformer? And I'm loving seeing like Reichert's levels are insane.
Yeah.
Andre Seegers from Game Explain, he made a level that was Super Meat Boy inspired. I can't wait to play that. It looks horribly grueling, but like in the best way.
That's not what I want.
But
No, I have
using the
no
rules,
desire to play any
but
of
using
that.
the rules of Meat Boy, where it's like it's
Sure.
not just cheap.
It's a-
It's like it's a well-designed level that is challenging. Love that shit.
Do they make creators pass their own level before they'll publish it?
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Okay.
You have to, as the creator, you have to be able to beat it once to put it up.
Yeah, which is super cool. I'm not a maker type, so I'm just gonna avoid that. Can't wait to download a bunch of levels before my fight tomorrow for RTX.
Nice.
Excited to play some of these ones that I've seen Andy been doing. I made a lot more progress on the story mode last time. I guess it was 2 weeks ago on Gamescast. I was talking about it.
of it, right?
Yeah, and I at that point was like 50% done, I want to say. Out of the 100 levels, there are 3 left for me, and I haven't played in the last like 5 days or so, but I'm just completely and utterly stumped on them. They're all like puzzles that I'm just like,
Yeah, how's that possible? As someone who hasn't picked it up, like how do you get stumped in a Mario level?
So there's a lot of modes or a lot of levels that are totally designed around like getting keys or like causing different things to happen. So one level that I'm stuck on right now is, and I talked about this a little on Games Daily at some point, but it's Mario 1 style, and you start the level. It's essentially room based. It's very Zelda. So
Gotcha.
your first screen, there's a set of blocks above you that like kind of separate you from what's going on above there. So you can't actually get up there. You just need to interact with it with bouncing and hitting things to like bounce them onto other stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a Koopa shell, or Koopa comes out, and if you jump and hit it, the shell will come off. You got to make it hit a spring that'll bounce it and like set it to go. And you need to make it hit a switch. That switch gives you a key. Then you get through the next door, and it's the same idea, but it's a much more complicated setup, and there's a bunch of on and off switches. So if you jump and it's the little blue on or the red off, and doing that causes different blue or red blocks to pop up in places. So the turtle will start walking, and then you turn the blue on and walk through that door, turn the red on, and then it becomes kind of rhythm of just like on, off, on, like making sure that as he's walking, like the right things are going underneath him for him to
There was
walk
levels
on.
like this in Odyssey, wasn't there? Yeah.
So this one, it's really cool, but I'm stuck on like the fourth room where there's this giant Koopa, like to make him big, and he comes out, and then it looks like a very complicated set of on and off that you need to get him to go, and there's like the escalator floor type shit that's moving, and conveyor belt, yes, and I can't figure out how to get the shell onto the thing to fall through the hole. It's just that finally I'm just like, and it has a 400-second timer, because a lot of the puzzle-based ones have like the longer time, and I've died like 4 times now, letting the time go all the way out, trying to figure out what to do in this one room. And what's crazy is it's Mario 1 style, so I must be missing something that's so blatantly obvious, because it's only, I think, because they rate the levels on difficulty out of, I think, 5. I think this is only a 2 or a 3. And for some reason, I'm just missing the one thing I have to do. And it's Mario 1 style, which means you can't hold items. You can't, do anything. It's really just move and jump. And so it's just the physics of hitting the block above you. So I don't know what I'm messing up there. Another one I'm messing up or I haven't beat yet is there's like one of the course objectives to beat the level is you need to push this stone. Like it's a really heavy stone that if you're holding the stone, you like can't jump as high, and like you're slower, and like just kind of messes you up.
It's like encumbrance.
Yeah, and you need to get the stone across like to the end of the level, and I just like can't figure out like certain parts of making the stone, because this one you've been doing the stone stuff throughout all the challenges. So at this point, this is like the final gauntlet challenge of it's combining stone stuff with puzzle mechanics of opening doors and putting things on springboards to like bounce them into stuff, and I'm just like at total loss. I don't even remember what the last one was. But
How do you feel about walkthroughs?
Oh, I have no shame with that stuff.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to keep trying like on the plane tomorrow. I'm going to give him a couple more shots and see if I have that aha moment. And if I don't, I'm like,
That's probably the most healthy thing you could do, right? Is step away the way you did. That's how it always is in games, right? When you get to a room, you don't know how the fuck, what am I supposed to do in this dungeon? You put it down after hours of trying, and the next day you pick it up and it's like, oh, there, clearly.
So this Koopa level that I keep talking about, I've come back to it 3 separate days and still had the same issue.
Right.
Yeah. But I get it. It must be something so ridiculously simple. I saw that Altano beat all 100 levels, so someone can do it.
If he can do it,
Yeah,
can
exactly.
do it.
But I've been loving it, man. Like some of the more challenging Nintendo created levels are just brilliant. I thought that the story mode was so well done. There's a lot of fun surprises, a lot of cute stuff that happens in the later half of it, of different characters that you meet and just like the things that they do and say. I think the writing's funny enough.
What do you think for you personally the legs on this are going to be?
I think that it has like crazy potential. Like when it first was revealed at the Direct, I was just like, you were texting me like, what do you think of the Direct, because you didn't get to see it yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, this could just be one of my favorite games of all time. Like it just could last forever. It's unlimited Mario levels, you know? And I feel like because it's on the Switch, it's going to have a much more dedicated fan base than the last one did. And I can see people, like I can see the Dan Reicherts of the world not stopping, because people are going to keep playing.
Yeah.
And I think Twitch is in a different place than it was a couple years ago, where I feel like that also gives it such a big boon and incentive for people to.
Well, that's the interesting about it for me, right? Is like I don't find myself, man, I have to play this. I'm dying to play it. I really want to. I'm enjoying Moonlighter and just continue to play on through that. I'm excited to eventually get to it and do some Mario Great. I'm more excited, I think, to watch what comes from this, to watch people play it, to watch Andy stream it, for us to do like, let's just do a stream where all we do is play, best friend levels and stuff like that. Like see that part of it where I'm watching you guys do it. I know how much you love Mario. I obviously see Andy playing it all the time, and I know how much he loves it and how much he's loving this challenge of it right now. Like that's the entertainment value of the game, I think, for me.
Yeah. I love the story mode. I feel has such a good balance of levels in each of the different styles, and jumping through each one. It's like, as much as I hate the look of New Super Mario Bros., I love the physics and abilities that the game has, and like being able to wall jump totally changes how levels can be designed and the type of challenges they can add there compared to World, which I agree with Barrett. Like I like the moveset in that game the most overall, and the limitations that you have there. Playing Mario 1 levels is my least favorite. Like I don't like being so limited, and there's just something about the physics of it that like I mean
the weight
it's
the weight
great.
you feel
the
of the
weight
jaunt
is just different, right?
Yeah.
And Mario 3 is interesting because I feel like there's not too many levels. Like off the top of my head, there's probably
feels like it's more nostalgia led than anything. Like the mechanics in that game are pretty subpar compared to what came later.
I mean, I would say it's a 10 out of 10. It's just compared to World. It's just like when it comes to Maker and just the music and the style of everything, I prefer the look of World.
No, don't get it twisted. That game was great for what it was when it was, but my point was that the Mario franchise has evolved so substantially in the decades to follow that when you put them all together on the same platform, I just don't think the mechanics of some of those older games really stack up next to the mechanics of the newer games.
I think just 1 is true there. 3, I think, does. But I asked people for questions. Thomas Adam Burton wrote in and says, what level creator worlds do you want to add to Mario Maker as DLC? I would love to see Mario 2 like done in the same way that Mario 3D World was done in this game, where it is its own separate style thing where it's not compatible with everything because it needs to be a different type of game.
You just want Peach to have her time.
And I love Peach too, man.
Yeah.
I love that little hover. Let's go. The biggest thing I'd want is a world creator. Like I wish that they'd allow people to kind of make games, and I wonder why they
like
didn't.
have your own overworld map and link all your levels together.
Yeah, and even if it's not overworld map, because I get that like I am a little bit surprised they didn't add that to Mario Maker 2.
I mean, you can make it really basic, right, and just link them together.
Yeah.
Little Big Planet added that for Little Big Planet 2.
But even if it was just like level after level after level, like make the system of like, okay, world 1 to 1, 1 2, 1 3, 1 4, 2 1 2 2 2
Sure.
2 4, like being able to make like a playlist of like here's a game that has a steady growth and challenge or whatever. I just don't know why they wouldn't add that functionality. Like there must be some reason. And I don't think the
DLC,
reason,
man.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that that's the case. I hope it's not like a Mario Maker 3 type thing because I wanted this to be like the end all be all.
This is the version of this for Switch. My question for you is somebody who wants to, think it could be your favorite game of all time, something you'll play indefinitely. How do you plan to find levels going forward?
I mean, totally just asking around for people,
Yeah.
and there's going to be websites and like,
Of course.
archive like lists.
Have you looked into it? Have they evolved that system? Are you bookmarking creators you love? Are you getting notifications about
I
creators?
haven't done much of that yet. I was planning to do that going into RTX, and honestly, from what I've seen of using it, like it's a nightmare. It is not intuitive. Does not seem
Sounds like
easy to
Nintendo
do.
doing
It sounds
online
like
That
some
sounds
Nintendo
like,
ass
yeah,
bullshit.
an online service from Nintendo.
Yeah, and that's something that is very disappointing. I feel like it should be a lot easier, and people should be able to upload things and share. You should be able to share a lot easier than it is. I saw someone tweeting about how this is one of the few Nintendo online games that doesn't really have functionality on the phone, on the app, and it's like this is the one that should. Like that would totally make things easier, being able to like find cool ones and then save them for
browse
download.
browse on the app, and
So it's pretty disappointing there.
Makes too much sense though, Tim.
Exactly.
It does, and that's the biggest problem. But again, I think that this game is worth it just for the Nintendo created levels alone because they're so good.
How
and
many
so well
hours have you
designed.
put into those 100 levels?
I don't. I have no idea. But
Okay.
enough.
More than 8?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe not more than 8. Maybe like 6.
Okay.
Overall, but like going back and like there was a bunch that I replayed just because I liked them so much, and like being such a fan of Mario games to the point that like I know differences between like little things. I love seeing enemies that were never in the other designs, and like hearing music that was never like there was no airship theme in the original Super Mario Brothers. So hearing them do an airship theme that sounds in the style of Mario 1, but it's a brand new composition. It's like that type of stuff is really cool to me. There's like so many Easter eggs in this game of random things where it's like effects will come up and it's say like N64 and then it's like the slide theme song from Mario 64. Or you can add the galaxy music and then it changes the gravity of the level.
Nice.
And things like that are just like really cool. And it's like, I feel like I'm constantly surprised by the game. There's always just something that I'm like, I'm never going to get to the end of everything this game has to offer. So really cool stuff. The next game I want to talk about that I haven't been able to yet on the show is Crash Team Racing.
Oh, yeah,
Nitro
right.
Fueled.
Wow.
Finally, it's out. It's amazing. People are loving it. The UK especially is buying it up.
As usual, they love
usual.
that Crash stuff.
Dude, no, I'm so impressed with what they did with this game. It is a fantastic remaster. It feels perfect. It is content filled. So they took original PlayStation game and put it out here with all the original tracks, but then they also remastered all the tracks from Crash Nitro Kart, which was a PS2 game not made by Naughty Dog. The original made by Naughty Dog. And I remember really disliking Crash Nitro Kart. It just didn't feel right. It was way too slow. CTR, the original, like one of the things people liked most about it was that it was fast compared to Mario Kart and Diddy Kong Racing at the time. And for Nitro Kart to come out and kind of feel slower, the levels didn't seem like well designed or inspired at least. All the remastered levels for Nitro Kart, they changed the size. They made it feel good for CTR. They adapted things for the speed. They adapted things for the drift mechanics and everything. And it's like playing through these levels, it feels like playing through a bunch of levels that I'm not intimately familiar with for the first time. So it kind of feels like a whole new Crash Team Racing game to me. So that stuff's fantastic. You look like you have a question for me.
No, I was just looking at the Metacritic, and
What's the standard?
is it a very respectable 84?
Hey.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But again, well deserved. Not a perfect game. Criticisms I have, I cannot believe the loading times.
Really?
I'm
You're
playing on Switch.
Okay.
But I loaded it
Yeah,
up.
the Switch score, to be clear, is 80 versus this is the PS4 score is 84. So that must be factoring in for some other people as well. Would be my guess.
I played on PlayStation 4 as well, and same problem.
Yeah.
To the
it's bad on both?
To the same extent, I would say.
never
I'm
mind
seeing
then.
very similar things, and it's not just the length of the loading; it's the amount of times it happens. Anytime you're loading up a new map, a course, you get this loading screen that's like 40 seconds. Honestly,
That's
Yikes.
painfully
and
long.
think about that. Think about doing a Grand Prix where that's 4 courses back to back to back.
Yeah,
That's 40 seconds in between each 3 minutes of racing.
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
and it starts to add up, and it really sucks. It doesn't incentivize you to want to like play modes that have you switching between courses that often. Once you load a level once, restarting that and getting back into the same level is not bad. Which is going to happen a lot because let me tell you, this game is tough as nails. It is completely unforgiving, and it is a real skill-based kart racer. There's no rubber banding bullshit of items like Mario Kart has. This is not a
Do you
party.
think it's bullshit?
I mean,
rubber banding?
It makes it a different type of game. It makes it that is a fun party kart racer. This is not a fun party kart racer.
Okay.
I love Mario Kart.
This is a skill
with all
thing.
this is a skilled kart racer. This is not the game that it looks like. Like this is a real skill-based racing game where the items are, you're not going to get better items because you're behind or anything. You get better items when you collect all the Wampa fruits, or essentially coins. When you get 10 of the coins, quote unquote, you get nitro boosted versions of the weapons.
Okay.
And it's very strategic of how you can use them and when or whatever. There's very few items that like fuck over everybody or fuck over first place. There are a couple of them, but I feel like it's fairly balanced in terms of everybody that's in the race gets affected.
Do you like that
Fairly
more, or is it just different?
Oh, it's very much just different. I mean, I love Mario Kart, but like Crash Team Racing's always been my favorite, and replaying this, I'm just like, that still stands.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is undeniably a more complete, well-rounded game, but that's because it was a new game made in 2013 at this point, right?
Yeah.
Just things were just different then. I feel like the gravity and the way that the graphical presentation of that game is just on such a high Nintendo polished level that this, even though it looks great and everything I was saying about them changing the Nitro Kart levels makes it feel new and fresh, it's still based on old stuff.
Do you think that, or maybe I should rephrase this question differently. What do you think is the balance between your love for Crash Bandicoot and it being a skill-based, good feeling kart racer? What's the balance of that contributing to your love of this game or your, opinion of, your feeling of having a good time playing this game?
Let me put it this way. My love for Crash Bandicoot actually stems from this game. Like I loved the Crash like platformer games, but Crash Team Racing was the one I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. This is an amazing video game. And so that still stands now. The Crash characters, the Crash world and all that stuff. I feel like honestly a lot of the charm of Crash Bandicoot was ripped from this. There's like a lot of animations that aren't in this game anymore, a lot of things that like maybe don't hold up politically in this climate anymore. But like I feel like a lot of
What the hell is in Crash Team? What's in?
I don't know. I'm not. You guys can look for yourself.
Really?
Yeah.
Is
But-
it like being me? Is he
No,
like,
it's just
well, you're
like-
just a
it's just
woman.
like
There's no way
scantily-
you'll beat me in this race.
Scantily clad, like
okay.
like just.
Deviant.
Remember like Cruising USA
Yeah.
where it's like it ends with just
Where there's girls
in
in
bikinis.
bikinis at the end, like
Yeah,
waving
like
flags
the
and
bikini
shit. Yeah.
bandicoots are gone.
Gotcha.
And it's stuff
Okay.
like that, which like Does that make this a lesser game? Not at all.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? But it's like there was that 90s like shit
extreme
that
gotcha.
Crash
That like
had.
frosted tips, I'm a cool gamer bro
Exactly,
kind of
exactly.
vibe.
Whereas this is way more cartoony.
Okay.
You know?
I gotcha.
And so I feel like some of just like that's gone. And also, it's like it's not like Crash has this ensemble of characters that are beloved.
Well, he's got him. He's got the female Bandicoot. He's got Diddy Kong. He's got the mask.
Exactly.
So you're saying that if this was Sonic, for example, the Sonic Team Racing, is a clear competitor to this, that you would feel the same way if the mechanics were identical,
100%.
if the skin was just different?
Yeah, like take Crash out of this. Like Crash has nothing to do with my love for this game. Like that's the thing is like it
This
doesn't.
is your gateway to Crash.
I mean, I already was in love with Crash before this, but it's just like
see, it's hard to say then.
no. But I mean,
See,
like
look
this,
at him
this
going
game
back
is
and
good.
forth. Ladies and gentlemen, I just might
I'm
be a
saying
small
that I
town
don't
video
care.
game lore.
Crash doesn't add to this game.
Okay.
The Crash aesthetic does not add to this game. Like
Sure.
the Crash music, there's nothing about this game that is special because of the Crash Bandicoot IP. Like it's because of the gameplay and how good it feels. And once you get your hands on your head wrapped around the boost mechanic, it's just so satisfying. And it's like I can understand people that come from Mario Kart playing this and being like, I hate this. This does not feel as good as Mario Kart. It's like you're just trying to play the same game and it's not that.
I have like literally one race in me of this where it was like you got me the code, you talked it up. I've never played Crash Team Racing before. You know that I love kart and I've been obsessed with kart since sophomore year of college with Double Dash, right? And so jumping into this, it was first off, number one, they dropped into that overworld.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, it's like that bear kart racing game we played. Remember when we did that thing and they were
Bears
like,
can't trip.
we're inspired by Crash, but I don't know what that means, is not having ever played Crash.
Yeah.
And jumping in, I was like, oh my God, I hate this as much as I hated it in the bear kart race. Found the race, jumped into the race, and then it was just like, what am I, you know what? I don't feel like learning a new kart race, or closed and went and played something else.
Yeah, you made a mistake. It's
No,
a
no,
great game.
it's-
And I feel like to answer your question, really, it's like, look, the Metacritic scores, like the review scores are speaking for people don't like Crash. So it's like the fact that this game is being reviewed well, it's like there is a good game there in spite of Crash Bandicoot.
To be clear, I
You
wasn't
know?
writing it off. I should learn it and do all these different things. It was just the thing of I was on a flight and I was like, I don't feel
Yeah.
like learning a new game right now.
And again, going back to it, like it's a difficult game and it's unrelentless in its difficulty of the story mode, even right. So the adventure mode that you're talking about, where you're in this hub world, it's like that's something that sets it apart from Mario Kart, where it's like they tried to build a world where you're doing stuff that's not just going from race to race. Like there's a bunch of you do like battle mode style things in the adventure
Yeah.
mode. You do like there's cutscenes and there's boss fights and stuff, and those boss fights do have rubber banding to the point which is you versus the enemy, and it's like, but that's the point of it, is they're always going to be in front of you, dropping their signature weapon at you, and it's like you just need to play the game differently. And I just had such a great time with it, but you are gonna lose. Like you're not gonna get. You need to get first to move on to the next.
If you're not first,
level.
you're last.
And this game proves that. But even playing on normal, I started on hard because I was like, I know this shit, and I was getting my ass kicked. I went down to normal, still getting my ass kicked, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's go.
You rose to the challenge.
I did, and it took me a while. I've been playing so much Mario Kart 8 on Switch over the years. I feel like I'm used to the way that game's drift mechanics work. And for this one, it took me about an hour or so to like reacclimate and be like, oh, I'm getting back into the gist of this. Like the idea of Crash Team Racing with the drifting is you have your little speedometer thing at the bottom, and it goes from red to eventually, or from green and eventually hit the red. Once it hits the red, so when you start drifting, same as Mario Kart, you jump and it starts to drift. That thing starts going. Once it hits the end of it, you need to hit the other shoulder button to be able to boost
While holding the one.
while
shoulder.
holding the other one. So it's just like you're kind of
So it's setting you up for claw hand.
no, it's shoulder buttons.
But you're still holding the gas then, or is the gas on the trigger?
You can change it however you want.
Okay.
So I changed my controls so that the R2 is accelerate, and then X would be jump, and then L1 would be
Gotcha.
the boost or whatever. Another criticism I have is there's only 2 control schemes, and neither one of them is how I want to play. But I wrap my head around it, and I could live with it. But I just hate when video games just don't let you just do whatever you want.
Seems like
Let me map
a
the
super
controllers.
fixable thing in 2019.
I really hope. But the drift mechanic is you essentially are just alternating between the drifts, and you can drift anywhere. It's like you don't need this like giant curve to be able to do it. But if you mess it up, you like over blow it, and then you kind of get like slow again. You have to
What,
accelerate from
overblowing
the
it being
beginning.
that you let it go too far into the red?
Into the boot, yeah,
Okay.
into the red, and, it goes, and then you get all messed up and you lose your turbos. But you
Gotcha.
can link the turbos up to 3 times and go. And like, if you watch people like speed run this game, it's unlike anything you'll ever see in Mario Kart. It's just the entire level they're going and just turbo boosting through it. And it's the shortcuts in this are so much better set up than Mario Kart, where it's like you really need to hit this stuff with a perfect level of skill of knowing exactly where you're going for it to work. And I just love it, man. I recommend it to everybody to give it a shot and to push through it, because it is very difficult and you need to just teach yourself a new style of kart racer that's not Mario Kart, that's not going to kind of baby you through the experience. And I think it's super rewarding at the end of the day. But the load times are obnoxious and absolutely unacceptable. But otherwise, it is a fantastic game.
Interesting. Sounds like it's got some Mod Nation Racers loading problems.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And so that's a big problem I have with the game, is that
Oh, I thought we were done.
I wish it was exclusive.
To one platform, so
Yeah.
it's like optimized?
Yeah, I feel like it would. All these problems would be gone, but just like that's the magic of Mario Kart with Nintendo. It's like they have a polish that they're gonna hit. You know, if this
I don't
was,
know. I'm gonna not let them off the hook for this. Activision Finance.
I'm not either.
Activision Finance this. You know who has a lot of money? Activision.
It just, that stuff makes this feel like a lesser than game. It really makes it feel like oh, it's a Crash Bandicoot game, as opposed to like, holy shit, this is the definitive kart racer. Like, I could never say that this is better than Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
I like it more, but it's not better than, because of things like that.
Hopefully they will look at feedback from their community, and it seems to me like loading is something they could potentially fix down the road with a patch or what have you, optimize it, but you only get to launch your game once.
Yep. And another shout out to them in a positive way, though. The DLC plan's ridiculous. There's so much stuff, and it's all free. And they're just giving a lot. So, like, on a DLC drop plan, I'm like, Spyro's coming. Let's go.
Have they
baby.
made any statement about the load times? Like they are going to try to patch
Not
them?
that I
Because if
saw.
they have that kind of roadmap and they're still working on the game, I
did not
wouldn't
see
put it
that.
past them.
Did not see that. Where are we with this? Give me 1 second.
You can have all the time you want in the
Thank you,
world,
dude.
big
I
guy.
appreciate that.
I can
I
cover it
really-
while you do. Hey, everybody.
really
This is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. I'm Greg. That's Andrea. That's Tim. Andrea, we like your glasses. We've
Hey,
covered this
thanks.
too.
They're new.
Yeah.
Just got them.
Ooh, well, Ariana Grande there. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about our sponsors real quick. This episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast is brought to you by Bespoke Post. Kevin, this one is definitely for you. When you're constantly on the go, grinding away at the office, or hanging out with friends, all things that you do quite frequently, there's not much time to think about upgrading your style or apartment. That's why the Box of Awesome from Bespoke Post is very cool each and every month. These guys are out scouting for quality and unique products to send in each box, and now you can experience it too at boxofawesome.com. Kev, can you bring this up real quick? Look at this. It's a
What?
whole assortment of things that scream Kevin Coelho
Dude,
here.
that bag's awesome too.
Yeah. See, recently I needed a little one of those toiletry bags. They have a fun name. I don't remember what they're called. But this is a perfect way to get it here. To get started, you can visit boxofawesome.com and answer a few short questions that will help them get a feel for the boxes that'll best go with your style. Whether you're in search for the perfect drink, a well-kept pad, or jet setting in style, Bespoke Post improves your life one box at a time. Each box goes for under $50, but has more than $70 worth of unique gear waiting for you. And it's all really cool stuff here. Very us. Very, very San Francisco, if you will. You know what I mean? From barrel aging kits to limited edition cigars, weekender bags to classy DOP kits. That's the word I was looking for. A DOP kit. Right there. Bespoke Post offers essential goods and guidance for the modern man. To receive 20% off your first subscription box, go to boxofawesome.com and enter code KINDA at checkout. That's boxofawesome.com, code KINDA for 20% off your first box. Bespoke Post, theme boxes for guys that give a damn. And next up, shout out to Hims. You've heard us talk about Hims a million times. 66% of men start to lose their hair by age 35. And once you notice thinning hair, it can be too late. It's a good thing that Andy and Nick both realized, and they've been doing this for a very long time. The best way to prevent more hair loss is to do something about it while you still have some. It's time to get a handle on those precious locks. There's no snake oil pills or gas station supplements, no prescription solutions backed by science. That's what we're talking about here. There's no more awkward in-person doctor visits or long pharmacy hours. Hims connects you to real doctors online, which could save you hours. It's completely confidential and discreet, super easy. You just answer a couple quick questions, just like Andy and Nick have done. Then they get the gummies they're always talking about. They get the shampoo. They get whatever they need from Hims. You can get started with the Hims Complete Hair Kit for just $5 today, right now, while supplies last and subject to doctor's approval. You can see website for full details and safety information. This could cost hundreds if you went to the doctor or pharmacy somewhere else. Go to forhims.com/kinda. That's FORHIMS.com/kinda. forhims.com/kinda. And now that we're back from that, we're going to do some listener questions.
Listener
do it.
questions.
Very exciting
questions,
stuff.
questions.
Where do I want to start?
They returned last week in force, and then people were so happy that we brought them back. We wanted to bring back even more, Tim.
It works out because we haven't really played too much.
Yeah, if you're, we're recording 2 days in advance from where we normally do. So there's a little, and I've just been obsessed with Moonlighter, so I can't play anything else. Into the second dungeon though, Tim. Just putting that out there for you, and I'm taking my time with it, milking it, if you will.
Yeah?
I can go fight the next, the level 3 boss or whatever. I don't want to. Let's just keep getting stuff,
keep enjoying
upgrading the shop,
Light your mood.
making the shop better. I got all these motherfuckers in there trying to steal from me. Not on my watch, buddy. I'm dodge rolling right into them and stopping them. Andrew's getting ready to pop out and scare people.
I just had to needed to get closer, and I had to
I would've
adjust
pushed
the
you.
feet. No, I had to adjust the feet because the one foot was out too far, and you couldn't push. Anyway, it was bothering
Christopher
me.
Laidlaw says, what feature is going to be the big push for the next generation of hardware? Streaming, instant loads, something else?
Wait, can you read it one more time?
What feature is going to be the big push for next gen?
Well, I mean, obviously streaming for sure, and that's all we keep talking about is game streaming, cloud saves.
Here's
Yeah.
my question. Stick with me.
Okay.
What is or was the big feature of this gen? And then what I want to compare it to is, was that what we were thinking was going to be the first thing, right?
I think
Xbox One, it was all about, we're going to connect, we're going to talk to it, we're going to do this thing, integration of TV in this, right? PlayStation at launch was maybe they talked about Gaikai, which was streaming stuff. The touchpad, touchpad and Gaikai were the big things. Voxels. I think you drop all these voxels from the sky.
A lot of boxes.
I think digital downloads were the biggest thing of this generation when you think back to the launch of Xbox One and PS4 versus what really defined PS3 and Xbox 360.
Which was HD.
Yeah, transitioning from that generation was the transition from SD to HD. This generation also was the transition from HD to 4K with the later iterations of the consoles. But really, I think the digital marketplace exploded in this generation in a really impressive way.
I would lean digital too, but rather than just the marketplace, I would talk about games as service, right? Granted, that's not a feature but it's not a feature of the consoles, but it is a byproduct of the connectivity and being online and what the network functions of it were, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's one you can predict. That's why whenever we get a question that is, where do you see games in 5, 10, 15, 50 years? Who the hell knows? I feel like it doesn't change on exactly a dime, but it is that whatever the plan is right now, it will not be the plan in 3 years.
Yeah.
And I love this question looking back at what it is now, because right now, you jump to, it's going to be streaming, right? It's got to be. That's what it seems like everybody's trying to figure.
And then the load times. I mean, there's a reason that both Xbox and PlayStation have talked about the load times and how fast everything's going to be and the focus on that.
To talk shit on Crash Team Racing.
Oh, God, that'd be...
Throw shade. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly. I feel like the load times are going to be significantly better, but that's only a selling point for a small group of people, I think.
Hey man,
initially.
PlayStation 5, that's what they're saying. They're only targeting the hardcore gamer.
I don't think so. I think you're underestimating people's attention span in a modern era. I even think back a couple of years ago, our patiences have gotten shorter and shorter and shorter. We're in this constant stimulated in a society where we want something and we want it immediately. And we get mad when our phones don't boot up and when the apps don't load right away, or when you start up your computer and you have to wait. Imagine having to wait 30 seconds for your computer to load up. It feels like it's a thing of the past. And so I think you're maybe underselling how important that much quicker loading time for the new consoles is going to be for consumers at large.
What I'm saying is I totally agree. I feel like it's going to happen. We're going to get those super fast loading times.
Oh, absolutely. We're on the same
I don't
page
think there's
there.
an easy way to sell that to the consumers, though, because I feel like that's an experience that you need to see for yourself. And once you see it, you don't notice it as a good thing. You only notice when things are bad. It's like video editing, where it's you don't notice when something's wrong or good. You only notice when something's bad. You know what I mean?
Sure. But I think demonstrating the improved loading times over the old hardware is a very easy thing to do, both in a virtual setting and in a brick and mortar retail store. I like to have them side by side and go, let's boot up the PlayStation 4 and then let's boot up the PlayStation 5 right next to each other and see just what the difference is, right?
Yeah, I just think that speaks to a much slimmer part of the pie than, look at this SD game, look at this HD game.
But there's no games in SD anymore.
Yeah. In the same way that the games are going to load faster.
Wait, are we on the same side here? I feel like we're talking about
We're
the
on the same
side.
side. I'm just saying that I don't think that them having that being the big push is going to be what ends up being the big talk. It's not what's
we're
going
on
to
the same
define the
page there
console.
for sure. I don't think it's going to be the big thing. I think it's cloud streaming is definitely going to be the talking point of the next generation.
Yeah.
But what if it doesn't work?
It's not going to work.
It's
going to
work. It's
But I mean,
100%.
but-
It'll work eventually. I bet you it'll work like year 3 of the next generation. It'll be solid.
In the
And see,
same
so I
way
think
that
at that
the games
point,
as a service and
it's-
online this time did.
Exactly. I feel like that'll be the interesting thing about it, though, if that ends up being the conversation of the generation or the feature. If they launch and they are such a work in progress that it's not exciting and it's just something that they can do, and everybody starts talking about whatever it is, whether it be even better connectivity, whether it be better loads, whether it is just it's gaming on steroids, right? It's your PlayStation 4 on steroids now. It's so much faster. It's so much better. That's great. If it's just the fidelity of the games and the quality of the games while they try to spin up both Xbox, well, not both, everyone spins up Stadia, Xbox, Gaikai, PlayStation Now, all that jazz. It's going to be interesting to see if that can, if it takes 3 years, if it's still the biggest thing of this generation, or if something's coming to usurp it and make it better.
My answer to this, to get away from the streaming and the load times, is I think next gen is going to be about exclusives. I think it's going to go back to an older style of games where it's like the exclusives really were the thing that made people choose one console over the other in terms of the way that they're marketing, the way that they're presenting things. We got Spider-Man here, right, on PlayStation. It's like this generation, it's like that's what slowly has been ramping up. We've been talking about this a lot, where PS4's early years didn't have the bangers after bangers that they do in their last couple years.
Yeah.
And I think that we're now seeing the small little kind of gap where we're not getting as many PS4 exclusives back to back. But I think that they're being worked on for the launch for 5.
I don't know. I guess I just disagree with you. I think, to me, the launch of PS4 is so definitively the launch of Bloodborne, and how that game as a PlayStation 4 exclusive helped solidify PlayStation's lead in the new generation of cycles, like really definitively. That one game, I think, was so pivotal for Sony being ahead of Xbox in this generation. And I look at Xbox's launch and I think Rise and how much of a flop that game was, despite the fact that it
Bloodborne
was.
wasn't at launch though. For
But
PlayStation.
it was spring 2014, which is in the launch window of a holiday 2013 launch, right? So that's considered launch window. And I just think that
I wouldn't do that.
I mean, it is.
I was
though.
grinning at, remember when Nintendo was trying to convince us the launch window was like 18 months? Like, shut the fuck up.
18 months is a stretch. 6 months is not a stretch for a launch for a new piece of hardware.
I think it's different though than a launch. Like it's very definitively.
You mean it needed to
different.
be like in the box?
Yeah. I think that day one is what your launch titles. Launch window is like whatever. But even then, like I don't know what point you're making.
We're not in that era anymore. Even within the previous generation, like I just don't. Maybe we just are going to have a fundamental disagreement about what a launch title technically means. But I just think that exclusives have always remained core to the success or failure of a system, and that's not changing with the next generation. It might be more
What I'm thinking is I think it is going to
important,
be the most important next generation. I think that is going to be the real defining thing of what makes Xbox or PlayStation the more important one. I think that we got a taste of it this generation. And I think that what I'm saying is we're going to get a punch of it right out the get-go with the PS5.
See, I think what another way to frame the argument and what I would think it's going to come down to is more
And
that
Halo. And Xbox One with Halo.
The feature of this next generation, right, that's going to matter the most is going to be value. And that can be exclusives, but I think it's also programs. And I think it is Xbox Game Pass. And I think it is whatever they do with PlayStation Now. And it is PlayStation Now teaming up with Plus, or, games with Xbox Gold being teamed up with, as it already is, I know, Ultimate Game Pass and all that jazz. But really, I don't know if it'll be exclusives are winning the day as much as services, and again a real return to ecosystem, where I feel like, and granted I'm on the quote unquote winning side this time around, right, being a PlayStation guy, having covered PlayStation through PS3, seeing it be such a success with PlayStation 4. I remember when it was PS3, Xbox 360, and there was this hardcore, ardent, not beaten down Xbox fan base, similar to how PlayStation 3 at the time fan bases were beaten down and like this. Like, I know it's a thing about trading, but I feel like if Xbox has a lot to cheer about, Xbox fans have a lot to cheer about, suddenly it becomes then, well, I want to go not only where my friends are, but where my money is being valued most, the ecosystem and audience that represents my values the most. And if, Phil Spencer and team are continuing to put gamers first and say they're putting gamers first and be the cool people now with cool exclusives and a cool machine and a cool $10 program that gets you everything, I think that could go a long way to turning the tides in a way of like, cool, yeah, I still have my PlayStation 5 for whatever Kojima's going to do next, whatever Naughty Dog does next, but I'm back in the camp of feeling like I'm an Xbox person.
But what about your trophies, Greg?
Well, I mean, hey, if Stadia works, fuck it all. Burn it all to the ground, you know what I mean?
Real quick, I thought that there was something wrong here. Bloodborne came out the next year, 2015.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
See,
March 24th, 2015, and the PS3 came out in November 2013.
When we had rolled on, I always remember as this, where Bloodborne was the first exclusive that mattered.
Because Infamous was the one before that.
And Second Son, it was like, all right, cool, right? Yeah,
And that was
and
even
Killzone
not
Shadowfall
launch
or whatever, right? Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
Killzone Shadowfall was
stand
launched,
corrected.
right? Yeah. But I knew where you were coming from in the way that Bloodborne was the
Well,
first
by
one
the
that...
18-month mark, then I'm still in the launch
In the
window.
launch
Get out of here,
man.
Reggie! No one's listening to you. No, it was the thing that Bloodborne was the first exclusive I remember that turned heads, but I don't think it like put it on the put it on the map as much as things that would come later or whatever.
Yeah. I'm talking about the clip of release that we saw starting with, I would say, Horizon.
Well, and that's what you're talking about. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Where
Horizon
Bloodborne was
wasn't
the
until
first.
2017, though.
That's my point. Is
that
I
they-
think
that
that,
they waited
earlier
too
this
long
next
to get in?
And then we're going to
generation-
get into the Horizon,
boom, boom,
Uncharted
boom,
4.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's going to define things. And I think that Xbox launching with a Halo title is already showing that we're going that
Do you think they're
course.
going to have the Xbox going to have something to follow it up though right away? Or is it going to be Halo launches and then it is? And
I mean-
not only does Halo launches and is Killzone Shadowfall. And then we have 18 months till we get to the next exclusive
Honestly,
that really matters.
that'll be the downfall of Xbox if they do. Like,
Yeah.
we need to see Halo Infinite launch with the Xbox and then exclusive. What are your 13 first-party titles? What are they doing? They need to be like games is a Xbox Game Pass and stuff. That's all cute and stuff. But if people don't have games they want to play, they're not going to
Well,
transition over.
I think we've seen, though, that Microsoft is addressing that, right? With their deep bench of studios that they've acquired over the last 24 months. They are preparing themselves for follow-ups beyond Halo Infinite because we know that those games aren't going to be ready for launch of 2020. And we have to assume that's when it's coming, right? So they announced that, right?
Yeah,
Fall 2020. And so you think spring 2021 is maybe when we'll see something from one of their new studios, fall 2021, but really I would say spring and fall 2022 was when their new studios will really start producing
I feel
exclusives.
like bare minimum for them to be a success, they're going to need to hit Halo in fall and then have a spring and a fall for 2021. And then 2022, they need 3.
I
And
think
then it needs to
that
be at 3 a
I
year.
think you're overestimating how important the exclusives are for PlayStation and for Sony because they have built their businesses on their partnerships. I think it's very clear definitively that the PlayStation 4 was as successful as it was worldwide because of their third-party partnerships, not because of their exclusives.
I think that the third-party
And that's-
partnerships
the sales
were
numbers back that up.
I think the third-party games were as successful as they were because the first-party games were so good.
So
and
it's a
released
chicken
at
and the
such a
egg
clip.
situation.
Yeah, but I think that people bought the PlayStation instead of the Xbox, not for the third-party games, but because of the first-party ones, and then because of that, that's where they bought the third-party games. Like Xbox lost them because they didn't have the first-party titles that they did the last generation.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, so interesting stuff.
Also messaging.
Yeah,
Just that PlayStation was so much better at messaging.
yeah.
In terms of this
It's
is
about
where we are.
games.
Very
Question
true.
before we move on and talk about next generation and Xbox in particular. Do you think that, and stick with me, I'm not doing the Greg throwing shade as a joke. Do you think that in the same way Wii U was under-adopted and then the games were thus underplayed and then could be repackaged and put out there, do you think for Xbox 2, whatever they call it, there's legs to, hey, everybody, the big thing we're putting out for you, wanting exclusive in 3 or 6 months after Halo, right, is Sea of Thieves Definitive Edition. We've done all this crazy shit. It's you thought it was content bare at launch. Look at all this shit. Look at all this crazy. There's some crazy visual upgrade. There's that and the other. Because fact that, and then granted, again, the bench is not is shallow right now in terms of what they're, but like it had a big presence at E3 at the Xbox thing, and looking over people's shoulders, like, oh man, I really do need to play that. And the Rare guys came over and talked to us about like, hey, we know we're big Kind of Funny fans. We'd love for you guys to give it a shot. It's so much different. I could see that. I could see State of Decay, which of course I jump back into at E3 when they launched the new content of like, hey, not definitive editions, not repackaging them, not even reselling them, but like making a bigger deal about them and maybe reselling them, I guess, if you've never touched them or you don't have Game Pass.
I think it's different, and I think that can't be the case because of Game Pass.
Yeah.
Like, because those games already got their second chance and are continuing to be promoted like constantly as get Game Pass so you can get all these, right? Whereas the Wii U games was kind of just like, oh, they came out, got great reviews, and that was another difference, is they get great reviews on the Wii U, and then now it's like, oh, that game that like you always wanted to play or at least heard about, like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, that everyone's like, oh, it's one of the best 2D platformers ever. It's like, now I gotta to actually play it.
Yeah.
Because I own the system.
Sure.
You know, whereas with Sea of Thieves, I don't see that being the case, or Crackdown 3, or
I just wonder,
Rise.
if it's enough of a new influx of audience to get people to care about those things and play those.
I don't think in a critical mass way. I think
Yeah.
there absolutely will be people who are like, hey, I never tried State of Decay. And
Now I have Game
heard
Pass, now I have this
somebody
new Xbox.
talk about it or stream it or whatever, and now it's included in my subscription, so why not try it out? It's that whole idea that Microsoft is doing a very good job of added value for a pretty slim lineup for Game Pass at launch. But now the Game Pass library is so much more robust, and it's really hard to argue that it's not worth the $10 every month.
No way.
So, I mean, if you are at all curious, jump in and try it out.
Jump in.
William Brewer says, if you could take any existing IP, video game, movie, or book, and give it a battle royale, what would it
Jesus. God, I was excited for a second.
be? My answer's still Halo. I love the gunplay in Halo, and I feel like that'd be the only battle royale I'm competitive in at all.
Okay. I got you. I would want to do it differently. I guess it's asymmetrical more than battle royale, but it could be 100 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So stick with me.
Let's go.
What
Take
I'd
me on the
wanna-
ride.
What I'm doing is I'm walking in with some multiplayer team that knows what they're doing, right?
Okay.
Or whatever. I'm just I can flip a switch and people who traditionally make single player games are suddenly making multiplayer games. What I'm doing, damn it, it's Kevin over there. What I'm doing,
What?
if Barrett would flip out for this. What I'm doing is Bat vs 99, and it's one player plays as Batman, and the other 99 players play as the thugs in Arkham City or Arkham whatever.
Interesting.
And like before you get in, you get to pick your loadout, or depending maybe on where you start in the map, you have guns, you have whatever. But like the idea is that the criminals are trying to take out Batman. Batman's trying to take out all the criminals, right? And so that it is this thing of Batman has the same moves we all know from Batman Arkham City and everything else, and the ability then obviously to KO people way faster. But the villains themselves are having a shot at getting it down and actually taking them out.
Reminds me of a game.
I like that.
Right,
That's
and,
cool.
And maybe it could even be that it's you're shrinking the circle. There, maybe you have to pull off crimes. Maybe you have to do whatever.
Is it like a Gotham City Imposters vibe?
Sure, it's not a shooter though. It's not a first-person shooter. One
okay.
person is Batman with all the Batman gadgets, and it's third person in my head. Yeah, third person in my head, and then everybody else is all the crooks running up on him. The thing I would be able to do is I don't know how you slow down time. I guess the crooks' movements are just slower in general, and Batman gets to do all his crazy ninja skills and flip people around and stuff like that. But it is one person is legitimately the Rocksteady Arkham Batman, and everybody else, the 99 people, are there. Maybe and they don't have to all be in the area, right? Batman's got to be picking people off as they try to do whatever crimes they're doing, I guess, or whatever they're trying to do to further the plot.
Yeah.
And then eventually, though, you get it down as the cone shrinks, that suddenly Batman is surrounded by the 15 people still around, and they're maybe still hiding from him, or they are trying to all come out and fight him.
I have two concepts that first came to my mind.
me.
First one, imagine Mario Kart battle mode, but 100 people.
Okay. Chaos. Love it.
Chaos, right? It would be amazing. Protect your balloons at all costs. That could be super fun
Yeah.
and super silly and stupid. But the one that I think would be really cool, but would never happen, is if they did a Portal-inspired battle royale where you can teleport with the portals around the map.
That would be amazing.
It could make for some
Splitgate Arena,
really
baby.
awesome, like, play of the game types things.
Yeah.
Clips and things like that. And you think about like a streaming culture and people who tune in, and like having people set up these really crazy assassinations using the portals
Sure,
to like
yeah.
surprise people. Could be really awesome. Even though Portal isn't a violent game.
Well,
I
it's
love
similar
that.
to what Splitgate,
Splitgate
right?
Arena,
Where there's
yeah.
like the Halo one meets Portal. Yeah.
So dope. Alex.
Wait, what's
forward-
your? Did you pick one? What'd you say? What'd you say? I forgot. Already.
Halo.
Oh, that's
He
just
did say
lame.
Halo.
That's just
Yeah.
lame. That's a cop out. He says that all the
Pretty
time.
easy,
He's so
yeah.
good.
They
Been
have
predicting it
one. It's
forever.
called King of the Hill. I don't know if you ever played it.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
jerk.
it's good, but like, you know what I mean. There's a difference. What games do you think nail the balance of challenge and difficulty? Celeste.
Yeah, poster child, like
Yeah,
number one.
I really feel like that is the shining example of a game that is never. It's not frustrating. It's well designed.
I don't know. It was definitely frustrating, but I think the thing that's great about Celeste is that it constantly reminds you that it's okay to be frustrated and it's okay to die. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to take a break and come back. And I think it speaks to the larger narrative about battling your inner demons and struggling with mental health or mental illness and depression that makes that balance of gameplay so exemplary, because they tied it so artfully into the underlying narrative of the game, and the mechanics were pixel perfect in that game.
Gotta love it.
I'm scrolling through my trophies here, trying to find one of recent memory. Because it's a good question that I thought had come up. I think I've talked about it before, but Doom, right? Where like when I didn't understand what Doom was, it was frustrating. And then once I understood that I'm supposed to die and I'm supposed to learn, I'm supposed to speed run it or understand how that combat flow, that rhythm of combat. Once I wrapped my head around it that way and played through it, I was like, oh, right, this is the right thing of, I don't go into a room and like, how the fuck am I going to do this? What am I going to do here, right? Or there's too many things. It is just, okay, I'm not doing the right order.
Yeah.
I need to take out that guy, then get health, then get the armor, then do this thing, move on that way.
Another one, perfect balance of challenge and difficulty, I would say, is the early Guitar Hero games. Guitar
yeah.
Hero, like 2 and 3 specifically, where I feel like if you were playing on medium versus hard versus expert, it's like there was an actual skill necessary to go up, and I feel like the note charts were so perfect and well tuned to the understanding of, are you going to play where it's just the first 4, or are we going to add that 5th one to really, up the ante with stuff? And she did a great job.
Oh, Guitar Hero 3.
It's
One of
perfect.
the best games of all time.
I love that you go 3, because most people say 2. People hate on 3 because it was never soft. Like,
Sure.
it's not
Had the great guitar though.
Best guitar.
Remember,
The
I
Gibson,
bought,
yeah.
It was
bought,
amazing.
bought it, took the guitar, put the game down, and put in Rock Band. Like I was like, whatever. Rock
dude.
Band 2, right?
Guitar Hero 3 was
No.
so perfect, man.
Guitar Hero 3, and it pains me to say, please don't hate me, John, and the rest of the team at Harmonix, but Guitar Hero 3 was superior to Rock Band 2.
Oh, period.
Was it Rock Band 2 or Rock Band 1? Am I screwing it up? I feel like I screwed it up.
I mean, Rock Band 1
It would've
was
been 1 that you're
amazing.
talking
about. Right, that I'm talking about, right,
Rock
okay.
Band 2 was better than Rock Band 1. Guitar Hero 3 was the best of them all.
Huh, well,
Facts.
bold.
Let's see. Ethan Brannon says, when do you think we'll see Breath of the Wild 2?
2022? Maybe?
Yeah, to play.
20.
Maybe 2023?
I think it'll be earlier than that.
You think it'll be 2021?
I'm sorry, what have we heard about Metroid 4?
Well, that's different.
Hey,
I
man,
mean,
we
that-
saw in-game
What's
footage
diff-
at least of this one.
Well, that
What's
we,
different about it?
What's different about it is that we heard that is completely being scrapped and started from the beginning, and like we're screwed, and that game's not coming for a long time, and nothing of that game ever existed that we saw. This is based on an existing engine with an existing world, existing characters, art assets, and all that stuff. We
I don't
already
think
saw-
2021's outrageous.
I don't think
you
either.
get that.
I can see them. I think it's 2021. Like
Yeah.
I think 2020 towards the end of the year might be their goal. That's not going to happen. I can see March 2021 would be my.
I'm
my
thinking
bet.
spring 2022.
Okay.
I think they target they target 2021 and then they delay to 2022.
God damn.
This isn't going to be a good one.
Private Quarters says rank your most fuckable Super Mario 64 bosses in order.
Nope.
But it's
Hard
like,
pass. Hard
but
pass.
I also just love how specific this is, because the bosses in Mario. Okay, there's King Bomb. There's Bowser.
Isn't there a big penguin?
There's
is.
the penguin, if you want to consider that
Big
a
penguin
boss.
number 1. Big penguin
Big
number
penguin
1,
number
baby.
1, baby.
Big peng.
Oh man, that is so funny. Andrew Reynolds says, "What's a game you started and then stopped because you didn't enjoy, but then tried again and loved it?" Monster Hunter for me.
Mass Effect 2.
Wow.
It went on to become my favorite game of all time.
Wow.
Rage quit. True story.
Where'd you stop? What happened?
So it was in the very early part of the game. I remember I was tasked with playing the game because I was on a judging panel for a Game of the Year thing for Spike TV. and I hadn't played it yet. And I was like, oh, and I hadn't played the original Mass Effect. And one of the guys at Mahalo, it was Jovenshire actually, he was like, oh my God, I can't believe you haven't played Mass Effect 2 yet. And I was like, I don't know, I've been busy doing other stuff. And he's like, you got to play it. And so I picked it up, and it was this, I don't know if it was the immediate section after. So, you go through the whole cutscene about, Shepard's been reborn in his body or whatever the elusive man did. And then you have to like shoot all these droids in this first sequence. And I don't know if something about like the cover-based shooting system.
It was stiff.
With the powers, I just could not get a grasp on. And I just kept dying in that opening sequence. And I was like, this game is dumb. And I rage quit. And then didn't come back. And then I came back and I was like, okay, I have to actually play this game now. I had a deadline for the shoot. And I was like, okay, I need to get through at least half of this game in order to be able to talk about it competently. And then I pushed myself through after watching a walkthrough on how to get through the very first level. And then after I crested that hill, it was like the heavens parted and the sun came down and the angels started singing, and I was like, this game is fucking amazing.
That's awesome.
And then I fell in love and played it 7 times.
Jesus. Hell yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a good answer to that. I'm sure I've said it on a podcast, but you know how I am. I just immediately forget everything I say. Doom I've come back to, right? Which I guess is that. But again, that's like my third Doom response there, just because it's the most recent game. What? I don't... Somebody asked a good question too that got on the Games Daily docket a couple weeks ago or days ago, but I didn't put out because I didn't have an answer. It was just like, what's a game you were tasked to review and you weren't excited for it, and then you ended up loving it? And I'm like, I don't even have a great answer for that, because I'm of course the guy who's on the RO shows where I'm like, oh man, I don't remember who reviewed that, and then people bring up my review of it. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I guess I reviewed that. Like, I don't even know.
Final Fantasy X for me, which is my favorite Final Fantasy, my first Final Fantasy. But first getting into it, I was so excited for it to come out because like EGM was talking about like, this is going to be the showcase game for the PlayStation 2.
Sure.
Like, first it was Gran Turismo 3, where it's like you gotta play Gran Turismo, right? It's going to be this graphical like behemoth. I remember renting Gran Turismo and being like, I don't like this realistic stuff at all. But Final Fantasy X, I'm like, everything about this seems really cool. Final Fantasy, beloved franchise. I've never played, unfamiliar with it. Let's go. I remember playing about an hour and a half of it and just being like, this is not for me. Oh my God, this, like, I'm really upset that I don't like this game. And then I came back to it maybe a month later, and I'm like, I was a fucking idiot. This is so damn good. The other one would be Zelda, The Legend of Zelda 1.
Okay.
When me and Kevin were growing up, we got our garage sale haul of getting our NES and like 28 games. And it was just like the greatest thing ever. We could just, first time ever, it was like our first video game experiences, really.
Yeah.
And being able to just pop game after game and just like figure it out. I'll never forget playing Zelda. And of course, Zelda was the coolest of all of them because it was a gold card. So we're like, what the fuck's up with this? And putting it in, and we were just like, what the hell is this game?
This is gonna be awesome.
It is. It was just so like, we're just walking around the overworld. We're like, what the fuck's going on? Like, I don't like this. And we stopped. How silly I was.
That's still how I feel about
silly
Zelda.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. Even though I forced myself to get through the opening sequences of A Link Between Worlds, and it went on to be one of my favorite games on the 3DS. So I was really impressed. But Link Between Worlds and Breath of the Wild are the only 2 Zelda games I've ever finished.
Wow. I talked a lot of shit. This might be one, I guess. I talked a lot of shit about Ocarina of Time when my friends were playing on N64, because we'd all, that was like the fun machine. We're in high school, we'd all go to Michael Bryant's house or my house and play all the WWF games at the time, or WCW games at the time, right? And play kart and do all that jazz. GoldenEye. And I remember when Zelda dropped, them playing it and having to come over and wait for them to finish whatever they were doing to actually play the multiplayer games. I'm like, this game's dumb. Is it Ganondorf or Ganondorf? Blah, blah, blah. Just making fun. And it was, and finally, like, long after Mike had beaten it, he just gave it to me with the strategy guide. He's like, dude, just play it. Like, you just need to sit down and you need to play it. And I remember talking shit probably to myself while playing it, and then staying up to like 2 a.m, never using the guide, right? But playing through it. And the night before I was supposed to take my ACT. Like a terrible idea. Like, I just played through and like, and I was obsessed with it from there on out.
Hell yeah. Qualia Freak wants to know, what are our game of the year so far, 6 months into the year?
Oh, interesting that you should ask. Because What's Good Games did our Game of the Year so far episode this week. You can find that at youtube.com/what'sgoodgames. We actually polled our community to get some of their thoughts and their opinions, because, we always have gaps in games that we haven't played. But definitively, Game of the Year so far, without question, Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
So far, there are no other contenders.
Really? I mean, yeah, I agree. But
If we had to vote today,
yeah.
that game would win without question, in my mind.
It's a really good question. Because, the first thing that jumped to my mind is Division 2. But again, that's like a Greg game. That's my favorite game, probably, right?
It's probably my game of the year so far as well.
Exactly,
I really
right.
loved what Massive and Restorm did with the Division 2. Certainly in the top 5.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, to sit here and be like objective about it and like how I would vote with a list of games in front of me for like what is the definitive game and like Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
that's been it's one of it's the normal thing with the early games, right? Where it doesn't even feel like that was this year. It feels like it was forever ago.
End of January though. Yeah.
I feel like Outer Wilds would be another one that.
Outer Wilds has definitely been a lot of people ballots. Again, like we talked about it last week, and it's just the intro 3 times has not grabbed me. But it seems like it's one of those games that everyone's like, you have to play. So I need to just push through, similar to everything we just talked about.
I think it's a nominated game. I don't think that's a winning game.
What else is still? What do you think's on the ballot the rest of the year out to argue with it?
But that's easy. I mean, Borderlands 3 is going to be on there for sure.
Right.
I think Call of Duty Modern Warfare has a chance at being nominated this year. The Outer Worlds is a huge contender for Game of the Year this year.
There's the big question mark of Death Stranding.
Yeah.
It's either going to be the game of the year or it's not
right.
going to.
Is it? Well, the thing that's interesting about you saying that is I 100% agree with what you just said. But I think it's kind of in this potential Red Dead Redemption 2 pool where everyone is thinking it might be this really amazing piece of art, but it might not grab people the way people think it might.
But the thing there is like, even though that was true for a lot of people, I still think Red Dead 2 was right up there with God of War in terms of nominations. And going into any of the award shows, I don't think it was ever clear who was going to win. Like looking back on it now, it's like, God of War won everything. And it's like, okay, well, cool. But like at the moment, it was like Red Dead could get it. I remember the Game Awards, Red Dead won like everything until towards the end.
And then God of War like kind of took over the rest of the categories. Yeah. So you think Death Stranding goes toe to toe with Resident Evil 2?
I think it could. I think that Death Stranding has the potential to eclipse Resident Evil 2.
Do you think Pokemon is in this race?
No, not this one. Let me see. Like, I want to look up game release dates.
Oh, I have these written down. Let me pull them up for you.
What is coming? What are the big heavy hitters like? Because I feel like we didn't have much going into E3, and then E3 kind of laid out a ton of stuff.
So
that's coming
some
later
big
this
games
year.
else that are coming: Gears of War 5, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I think is a big wild card here.
Oh, that is, yeah.
Because it could potentially be phenomenal, but that they just whiffed their showing at E3. But that what Respawn is doing is really incredible, especially if they lean into this idea of like a third-person Metroidvania set in the Star Wars universe with really fantastic, deep RPG progression based off of a combat system. Like if all of that comes together, it could be chef's kiss,
totally.
amazing. Especially set in Star Wars, but it's a big what if. Doom Eternal, I think, is also a huge contender for Game of the Year. It's coming out in November. Some other games that came out earlier this year that may make some people's lists. Sekiro is a big one that people are talking about as a contender for Game of the Year. DMC 5, Days Gone, Mario Maker 2, Mortal Kombat 11, Metro Exodus, Katana Zero, Kingdom Hearts 3, Far Cry New Dawn, and I also have on this as a potential Apex Legends, but I mean they are kind of definitely going to be nominated in the online game and multiplayer categories and potentially in action or combat. But I think that there's just too many other contenders for them to actually make Game of the Year.
Playing Jedi Fallen Order impressed me so much more than just seeing the demo that they did and the trailer and stuff. So like I think that does have a good chance of being a very at least nominated. I don't think it has the potential to win it, but I think nominated for sure.
Yeah.
We got Gears 5 coming. I doubt it.
If they bring the intensity from a narrative perspective that we saw in that narrative trailer that they released after the press conference, which for the love of God, I don't know why they didn't put that in the press conference.
It was cooler to have the weird morphing head.
I think if they can really up the ante with their narrative storytelling and do some reinvention in the Gears third-person shooter formula, it could be a contender. But they just have not shown enough of that game for me to believe that it's going to stand toe-to-toe with a Doom Eternal.
I mean, that's the problem is I think the fact that it is Gears again and like not reinventing the wheel from what we've seen, right? It's not gonna have God of War. It's not gonna have that kind of God of War momentum movement behind it that would actually change it. I think based on everything we listed here, I think Outer Wilds still has a really good shot. Because so many people talk about it right now of just like it could be their game of games. Like they're so blown away by it.
You mean the Outer Worlds or
Not
the
in
Outer Wilds?
I think Outer Worlds, we know what it is. I don't think Outer Worlds will make Game of the Year short lists.
I think you are 100% wrong. You could not be more wrong.
I think it's going to be awesome. It's one of my most anticipated games of the year, but I don't think it's going to like catch people and blow them off course like that. Like,
I think Outer Wilds is going to end up on lists. Worlds, I think, will be on some of the lesser lists. I don't think it has.
You think Wilds has a better chance than Worlds?
Correct.
I think you both are crazy. I think you both are out of your goddamn minds.
Let's pick 3 sites right now. We
Okay.
can each pick one, and then that where if you what's the argument? I guess if Worlds or Wilds is on there.
Is on the Game of the Year nominees list.
Yeah, if
I
you
would
have
go-
It
five-
has to be
if you
the
have
Game of
5
the Year category.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Not
Oh no.
independent of the year, not action adventure of the year. It has to
RPG,
be.
yeah.
It has to be Game of the Year.
Yeah.
DICE, Game Awards, and IGN.
Okay.
I feel like those are the
Sure. That's fine.
most important
Okay.
ones.
You just throw the GDC awards away. Who needs them?
It's true. DICE is better.
Damn.
Better host.
Medieval.
Nope.
Yeah, sure. That's
Get
gonna be on a
outta
lot of
here.
lists. Kevin Coelho's Game of the Year.
Yeah, looking at this list. Luigi's Mansion 3. Gotta hope. Yeah, that's it. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Thank you very much for joining us. We are about to do the post show that's exclusive to Patreon supporters. So if you're one of those people, hey, stay tuned. We're about to talk to you. If you're not, you're missing out.
Be one of those people.
You're missing out. You could be one of those people. Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Love you. Bye.